the Lewisville Fighting Farmers. Lewisville comes into this game with a 10-1-1 record after last week's 48-28 area playoff win over South Grand Prairie. Permian is a 10-1 so far this year. They won last week's game over El Paso Eastwood 61-8. Now this game features a Lewisville team that primarily runs the ball from the wishbone. Permian runs from the wing tee but will pass. Tell me, Mr. Barry Sykes, who will be doing the game analysis for you this evening, what's going to happen today, Barry?
Okay, you mentioned the passing game, Rick. I think the Panthers have to have an effective passing game on offense. Along with the same thought, the offense has to control the ball. When you have a wishbone offense like the Lewisville Farmers are going to be running, they like to eat up loads of clock. So you have your offense control the ball, keep the ball away from their offense. The other two things today that are very important. One, the defense has to set the tone for Permian. They will be kicking off, and the defense will have the first opportunity to set the tone. And then something I think we can't overlook, we have a wind that's from the southwest at 15 to 20, and gusting looks like up to 30 miles per hour. You have to play field position with that wind. When you have it, use it well. And when you're going into it, you cannot afford to get bogged down on your end of the field, punt short, and then have the opposition play with a short field the entire half. You have to use the wind wisely.
Well, already that wind has come into play as Permian did win the toss at midfield, but did choose to defend the south end of the field, which has the wind to their back, and will be kicking off to start this game. The Fighting Farmers from Lewisville will be receiving and defending the north end. Already, Barry, it has come into play.
Well, Shane Wells, with the wind behind him, no doubt would be able to put it through the end zone. The question, Rick, does he want to put it through the end zone or hit it high and drop it at the goal line and maybe take a chance on short field for the Farmers?
Well, there's the kickoff to start the game, and it is deep back into the end zone. And that's Metric McHenry, who is the big running back front line there, and that's Sam Brooks and Scott Holder.
Well, they ran right at Scott Holder. You run away from the All-American and All-State candidate Sam Brooks, but Holder comes up with the play. Let's set the rest of the defense. Snyder. All right, well, we're rejoining Rick Wood now with the play-by-play of the game. It's 2nd down and 8 for the Lewisville Farmers from the 22-yard line.
We're back after a slight interruption as they still try the middle of that line again. This time met by most of the Mojo defense. Byron Mitchell was the ball carrier for the Fighting Farmers. It cannot be stopped was what was being said on their first series of down, but it was done. And here's the punt off the side of the foot and will go out of bounds. It looks like at about the 49, 48-yard line. That's where Permian will take over with their first offensive set of downs and in real good field position, Barry.
All right, the defense did the job. They gave up an aggregate total of 2 yards on 3 plays, and now because of the fact of punting into that big wind, the punt by Roach carries only out to the 47-yard line. Now the Panthers only have 47 yards of pay dirt to try to hopefully get a score early here in the ballgame.
And here comes the big back, and I believe that was Alan Strambler as he tries the left side of that Farmer line, and it looks like he's going to pick up about 4 yards on that first down run.
Here's the offensive set for the Panthers. The quarterback will be the 1,000-yard passer, number 20, Dennis Graham. In the backfield with him, Tyree Ephraim gets his first start today, number 33 at fullback. Strambler, the tailback, number 24. Bergen and Parrott. The wide receiver, Scott Cherry, at tight end. Also, O.T. Wilson, number 10, will be hearing his name a lot today.
In motion comes Bergen. This time they go up the middle to Ephraim, and Ephraim is hit immediately, and that's by number 65, P.J. Shields, a 250-pound senior that sets himself up as the nose guard on that front line for the Farmers.
All right, this Permian offensive line has done a great job all year. This offense averages in excess of 405 yards per game. Here are the guys up front that make it happen. The tight tackle, Scott Hansen. The other tackle, Alan Garrett, the lone junior on the front. Chorney and Benjamin, the guards. Matt Lockie, senior, starts at center.
We have a 3rd down and about 6 yards to go for the first. Graham back, looks downfield, in and out of the hands. I'll tell you of O.T. Wilson, who came in that time, and he got turned around kind of on that one, buried and hit him, and he just couldn't get a hold of it.
Now, that's the first pass that O.T. has seen this year. He has not caught a pass as we enter play this afternoon. And I tell you, one of the problems Graham has had this year, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, not putting enough air under the ball. That was perfectly thrown, and OT unfortunately just could not come up with the ball. Tell you, Lewisville defense hanging tough that first series.
Crawford back deep for the Farmers to receive this Wells punt, and it is a boomer, and it goes into the end zone and out, and the Farmers will take over as the ball is moved up to the 20-yard line for their second series of downs. First series of offensive downs, they had a tough time going anywhere, Barry.
Well, I tell you, it was a tone setter for the Permian defense. They did the job, and now the Lewisville defense does the job. Now, we talked before the game, Rick, that this definitely was going to be a four-quarter ball game. This wasn't going to be a 61-8 blowout. It's going to be a four-quarter game, and this is the way it's starting out. It's going to be tough all the way through.
It's going to be a game of in the trenches. I can see that already. Dennis. Chad Nelson keeps the ball this time, tries to get back to the line of scrimmage, does get back. He may have gained a half a yard. There he was caught, beats the middle, may have picked up a yard on the play. Again, the front of that defensive line, Neidert and Holder and Brooks and Calicut all in there to make the stop. Bergen in motion towards the line. This time it goes to Scrambler, breaks across the 40, the 50. He's down across the 45 and is going to be marked down at the 44-yard line. Big run by Alan Scrambler. Warmoth was the man, the sack leader. 22-yard run that Warmoth stopped at the 44-yard line for the Farmers, and that was Scrambler.
Just a matter of breaking outside, following his blocks, and once Allen followed those blocks, was able to get through that front seven, use the speed that he has to break into enemy territory down to the 44-yard line.
Permian, 1st and 10 in the Farmers' backyard. Ephraim, Tyree Ephraim, the man with the ball this time, and he goes across that left side. This time, Topher Roach came in to make that stop, and that was a 14-yard run by Tyree. First down at the 30-yard line for the Panthers. Scrambler, the ball carrier this time again breaks across. He gets across the 20, and he's going to be down to about the 18. It took the big fresh, the Metric McHenry, who is playing defensive back, to make that stop.
Look at the replay. You can see how he cut back, Rick. Look at the last three runs by the Panther offense. 22 by the Scrambler, 14 by Ephraim, and now a run of 12 down to the 18-yard line by Scrambler. Panthers in great field position, methodically moving down the field.
That offensive line is really starting to back those Farmers off, and that's making a big difference because those holes are opening up. This time it goes to Tyree. This time he's hit at the line of scrimmage. Ball almost gets loose from him, but he works and fights his way, and I think they're going to mark it down to the 15-yard line.
I tell you, that is why I like to watch Tyree Ephraim run. Rick, he gets hit once, and you can see on the replay coming, he gets hit once, bounces off, keeps driving. The key to being a good running back is you never keep your feet from running. Keep them moving, keep them moving, keep them moving until finally you're taken down to the turf. A great job of running by Tyree Ephraim.
He took a lot of hits. The ball came loose a little bit in his hands, but he got him under control. We have a second down, and it looks like about 7 for the first as we operate now from the 15-yard line. Scrambler up just behind the end and now goes in motion. This time Tyree again the ball carrier, and he is hit by number 82. This time Mike Fraser comes up, the senior 175-pounder for the Farmers, and catches him right at the line of scrimmage, but Tyree carries on over and gets down, it looks like, to about the we got a flag on the play, and it's going to be against the Panthers, and they're going to move them back.
Now the holding penalty is going to wipe out a game that was down close to the 15. Panthers have to reach the 8-yard line for a first down. This penalty will move them outside the 20. In fact, out to the 27. That means they'll have the second down again. It'll be second and about 18, almost 19 yards for a first.
Second and 19 for a first. Again, second down, and they are deep in the Farmers' territory. Two men split to the near side. Graham back and passes, and it is complete to number 12. That's Kendrick Parrott. Parrott catches it, and it's going to be marked at about the 14-yard line. That is his 36th reception for this year, and he was caught there and stopped by Zach Welton.
Let's watch the replay, and you'll see the quarterback, Graham, roll out, stop, lock onto his receiver. Kendrick makes the catch, comes back. Ball's going to be marked inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. It'll set up a third, and it looks like it's going to be 3rd and 6. You know, Kendrick Rick did not catch a pass last week, so he's glad to early in the ball game get back in the passing game.
Well, they need him back in the passing game because he's got a good set of hands. Delayed to Scrambler off the right side across the 10. One man left to hit, and he is finally brought down, but not before he gets down to about the 8-yard line. Again, Metric McHenry, their big running back on offense, who is playing defensive back, comes up to make the stop.
And I tell you, that's an important stick by that senior running back in safety, number 9, Metric McHenry. He goes about 200 pounds, maybe 185. I might be fudging a little bit. And that is, it's going to be big because of this fact. Look and see where they mark it. It could very well be short in Permian playing 4th and short.
That was a big hit, and it is barely short.
It's going to be short. It looks like it's going to be less than the length of the football. In fact, it looks like it's going to be about 4 inches short.
They're going. Comer comes in. He'll be up there, I'm sure, for that blocking power, don't you think?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. He has not carried the ball at all this year. That's a look that nobody has seen. I would not be surprised in this situation to see Michael Comer, the ball carrier, for that big, tough yard.
Well, here's a big test right off and early in this ball game. And it goes to Scrambler. He's got it. He crosses that right side, and they're going to mark him down at about the 8. Leading for him was Tyree Ephraim in there blocking, and that helped him open it up. Greg Baker was one of the main ones to finally get a hold of Scrambler, but not before he picked up that first down, and they are counting it a first as they mark it at the 8-yard line. 1st and goal.
Okay, Comer didn't carry the ball that time, Rick. Way back in the spring game, Michael had over 100 yards rushing. Has not carried the ball at all this year. Carried one time last year. He comes in as a blocking and battering ram, you know, on those short yardage plays. At some point in this ball game, I look to see if he maybe will carry the ball and pick up that tough yard they need.
Well, we've got a man kind of down there on the field for Permian as there is a timeout called. And with that timeout, we will be back to Ratliff Stadium with a score 0-0, 2:49 left in this first period of play. First and goal from their own 8-yard line. New center in there, Eddie Chance for Permian. Back to Tyree, crosses the 5-yard, carries himself down to about the 4-yard for a nice play. Shannon Brazel and Zach Welton, the 2 middle linebackers, come up to make the stop.
I wish we could get a shot of the back of Michael Comer's hair. Somebody did a great job of hair cutting. It says Michael Comer 45 on the back. And I tell you, he did a great job of giving somebody a buzz haircut down inside the 5 to blow it open for Tyree Ephraim. Ephraim able to bounce inside down to the 4. They picked up 4 on first down. Now it's 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line.
Pressure is on right here. Testing the Farmer defense. Deep, close to the goal line. Scrambler again. Oh, almost in. He falls just short and finally grabbed right by his ankle before he got there by Metric McHenry again. And look at this one, Barry.
Watch this. I mean, it's just a matter of keeping your feet just so close.
Right there. Look at him.
I'll tell you, McHenry, that guy's going to be a thorn in the side of the Panthers all day. I just have a sneaking suspicion.
I think you're right, because he's there, whether it's offense or defense so far. Big play, 3rd down, and we've got about a yard for the touchdown. 1:15 left in this first period of play.
You've got an offense that averages 304 yards rushing a game. What's a yard, right? What's a yard?
What's 1 yard, right? We'll see right now how tough that yard is. Graham to Ephraim. Ephraim gets in for the touchdown, slides over the right side. That will be his 10th touchdown of the season. Tyree Ephraim, the big running back, tried to win it. He went across Greg Baker and Cornish.
All right, let's watch the replay. We're going to see it from ground level. You're going to see the power of that running back. He gets hit, but he keeps those feet driving and is able to push that defense back into the end zone. The official throws the arms up Permian 6-0. Here comes Shane Wells for the extra point.
Well, with his speed, he has that momentum going for him because he's a quick starter. Shane Wells now will attempt the extra point, and he has been perfect and is again to start this game. That brings the score 7 for the Panthers, nothing for Lewisville with 57 seconds left in this first period of play. It seems like this game is going to be one of those in the trenches. Every yard you gain is going to be a tough yard. But that set of downs for Permian, Barry, they had a lot of offense going. They broke open some long runs, both Scrambler and Tyree Ephraim, and were able to move quickly down into the Farmers' end. That's how they scored. But as you get closer down there, it makes it so much tougher because this is a big team. This team has some big boys out there.
You're talking about big. What number is that kid?
3. Yeah, what is he?
How many turkeys did he have the other day?
Number 74.
6'3", 320. What do you bet when Mama said, Thanksgiving dinner, time to eat, everybody was ahead of him heading to the kitchen?
Or got out of his way one. I don't know which.
That drive was a 66-yarder, 5 minutes and 39 seconds. Now, that's ball control. That's what you got to do, control the ball. 5:39, 66 yards and 10 plays. And, Rick, the most important thing, Panthers overcame a 3rd and 19 to come up with a score, the 1-yard run by Tyree Ephraim.
Reggie Crawford and Metric McHenry are back deep, and that kick is going out of the end zone again. Wells, with that wind to his back, really got into that one. Kicked it out of the end zone. That'll bring it up to the 20-yard line. That's where the Farmers started the last series of downs, was from the 20, as Shane's Wells kick went out of the end zone at that time also.
All right, now the Panther defense, they've already been on the field twice. First time Lewisville had the ball at the 20, only gained a couple of yards. Second time 20, only gained 7. Now, with the offense establishing the lead, let's see what the defense can do this time.
Reverse going around the other side, and that's Byron Mitchell going to try that right side, but he is caught, and guess by who? The boom man. Sam Brooks is there to grab him, and he held his position and really covered it, Barry.
Mitchell's not a back that carries the ball an awful lot. 318 coming in, 6.2-yard carry. Now let's watch as they pitch the ball to McHenry. He pitches it back to Mitchell, but you see just an absolutely perfect one-on-one tackle by the All-State candidate,
Mr. Sam Brooks.
That's right. Sam Brooks comes up with the tackle.
Picked up 4 yards on that to bring a 2nd and 6. This time the quarterback, Nelson, keeps the ball. And he will be close to a first down. It looks like he's got it. Jason Berlin came up on that stop, Barry.
Nelson just had an absolutely, spectacular game last week against South Grand Prairie. That game by the quarterback is an 8-yard gain out to the 32-yard line. He gained 192 yards on 10 carries, had runs of 70 and 82, and that 80-yard run, Rick, came on a 3rd and 7 from their own 6 at a point when the previous play looked like that South Grand Prairie was going to tie the ball game on.
That's the end of the first period of play, Barry, and the Panthers lead this game 7-0 over the Lewisville Farmers. Now then, coming into this, we will have the wind to the back of the Farmers. Let's see if that makes any difference.
Well, if you don't pass.
Okay, if you don't pass, you're right. It may not make that big a difference. We'll be back to Rattler Stadium, and once again, to start the second period of play, Panthers lead 7-0 over Lewisville. Wind is still kicking up, blowing across the field, and now then the Farmers will have that to their back, operating out of this wishbone. They now break the wishbone, move their tight end over, and a man in motion. Again, he being Chad Nelson, trying to get up and toss that ball off, but there is Kelvin Collicutt, and he was in there to throw him for a loss. It's going to be a loss of about a yard. That'll bring up 2nd and about 11, Barry.
And that was, I believe, the exact play that they ran those 80 and 70-yard runs on last week against South Grand Prairie. He stuffs it in the gut of the fullback, Brazil, pulls it back out, waits for the defense to come in, and then takes it around the end, but Collicutt wasn't fooled.
This time it goes to McHenry. McHenry tries the right side. He gets up to about the 35-yard line. I think that's where they're going to mark it. He may have crossed 35.
This is the kind of offense that even when you put them in a situation like this, we've got 3rd and almost 8 for a first down by the Lewisville Farmers, to them, that doesn't mean it's necessarily a passing down. They have enough confidence in their offense. This offense averages 348 yards, of which 321 of that's running. You know, that doesn't mean they're going to throw, but if they do, Rick, let's look for Martin Simmons, sophomore tight end number 87. Probably Scott Cherry be matched up against him along with the quarterback.
Matt Collins comes into the game. Nelson keeps the ball. Tries a toss out, and it goes out of bounds. It's still going to be in control.
Well, it depends. The official has it marked at the 45-yard line,
Yes,
which would be enough for a first down.
But he's
The question is, will it come back to where he fumbled? Okay, that's what they're going to mark it. They're going to mark that his knee went down to the 36-yard line. Doesn't matter where the ball ended up. The quarterback having possession of it was down short of the first down.
That one just went crazy, went out of bounds, was knocked out of bounds. And if they would have put it where the ball was, it would have, of course, been a first down. But where the quarterback went down, marked back at the 36-yard line. And so, in comes the kicker, Topher Roach, for the Lewisville Farmers. And they will be kicking back deep to Kendrick Parrott, is back at about the 20-yard line. And the ball is up, and it is a big kick. Kendrick takes it at about the 14-yard line. Not a lot of room to go there. And that looked like number 36, Chris Soto, was down to make that stop.
And the Panther defense so far has allowed at Lewisville only 27 yards of offense, 22 yards of offense in the first half, and all of that running. They haven't even attempted a pass. In fact, there were 4 games back early in the year, middle part of the year, 4 out of 5 games where the Farmers didn't even attempt to pass. Last week, 2 or 3 for 80, and that's why you have to be so cognizant and aware just in case. You never know.
A lot of faith in that defense. Scrambler, again the ball carrier. Gets up to about the 24-yard line. P.J. Shields comes up from his nose tackle and makes a stop.
Once you just bounce off the right side of that line, Hanson, Chorney, Cherry. Is Cherry in there, O.T. Wilson? I didn't see which. Okay, O.T. Wilson's in there at tight end. And just follow your blocks. I mean, when you're running back, you've got a great line. Follow your blocks, and you get 6 yards on first down. It sure makes second and third down calls a lot easier.
That's what they look for. The most you can get.
If you can get 6 at one time, I tell you, that's a lot of chunk of real estate, and I think a coach would take that all day long.
2nd and 5 for the first. Graham is rolling out to the left side this time, and boy, he was hit hard. And big hit out there by P.J. Shields again, came from his nose tackle and followed that play well.
All right, let's watch a replay of this. You talk about getting tattooed. This is a running play all the way. Graham doesn't even have any inklings of passing. Watch him roll out and just get popped. In fact, it gets popped not only by P.J. Shields, but also by the blocker that's trying to block for him. Warmouth also came in there, number 29, and he's the key to the defense, I think. And the player that we haven't mentioned, Rick, they've got a freshman. That's a 9th grader, a freshman, number 24. He's a linebacker, a 9th grade kid playing linebacker at a 5A level.
3rd down play, and in and out of the hands of that Sheldon Bass. And that was at about the 25-yard line. Here comes the replay on that one. Let's take a look and see about it, Barry.
Okay, all you have Graham roll out. He rolls to his right, sets up, throws the ball, and it was perfectly thrown, and Bass knows he should have come up with it. Sheldon had an opportunity last week, intercepted a pass, and ran it all the way back for a score, but it was nullified by penalty. He said that, he'd really like to get in the end zone this week. To do that, Sheldon got to hang on to the ball.
Crawford's back deep to receive this punt. McHenry is also back there, and here comes the punt. And it is a spiral. It's taken at about the 38-yard line, and the coverage is there for the Panthers. Yes, and that was number 16. That was Matt Colmia was down there. That was a 36-yard punt. Colmia down very quickly on the coverage. Downed them before they could get anywhere or any momentum going. They're going to mark that one at the 42-yard line.
Also Ephraim, 33 down there quickly. But, of course, the exchange of punts and the exchange of offense and defense means that Lewisville is creeping closer and closer to starting drives in their midfield, now at the 42-yard line.
Yeah, the switch-outs are getting a little bit more to the Farmers' side of play. This time it's into the stomach and out. Nelson keeps it, but nowhere to go. Michael Comer, the big middle linebacker, comes up for the stop.
All-state player last year, hoping again, of course, to get the recognition as an all-state player again this year, and he's been very solid. The Permian defense this season simply wraps up the quarterback. It's not often that a running back gets hit by Michael Comer and squirts away. And in this instance, of course, all he did was go down to the turf. But it was a 2-yard gain.
Well, really what caused Nelson to keep that ball was the front line, defensive line, stopped the original play, so he had to take it and go around the end because there was nobody and nowhere else to go. McHenry in motion to the near side. Here comes their first pass attempt. Downfield intended there for, let's see, that was number 28, Terrence Bowman came into the game for that, and way over his head and out of bounds. The coverage was definitely there. Dusty Dennis was there to make sure that there was no way to get a hold of that one.
I'll tell you, Bowman hadn't caught a pass coming into the game, number 28. They thought they might be able to sneak him back there, but good double coverage by the Panthers. They weren't surprised, nor were they suckered into thinking run only. They played the pass well, the ball really not that well thrown and fell harmlessly incomplete out of bounds.
Third down, about 8 yards for the Farmers, operating from their own 43-yard line. Again, the pass look. Uh-oh. He got away from 1 and 2. He's still on his feet. You talk about Slick Willie, just exactly what you said, and there it goes downfield. It's going to be intercepted at the 30-yard line, and that's by Jared Bergen. That is his second interception of the season. And here comes the replay. We can see that again, Barry, and look at this. He was really getting away from everybody.
And watch, he avoids everybody. There is Brooks. He avoids, I believe that was Comer here, just hitting the turf. Throws the ball up, and watch Bergen, just like a center fielder, comes up with the interception for the Panthers. Interception number 19 on the season. They had a plus 15 ratio coming in, and that ratio's been creeping up and creeping up and creeping up week by week. Now for Lewisville, this is what's important. They don't throw the ball that often. Only had 3 interceptions of the year coming in, all by Chad Nelson. Interception number 4 for the Lewisville Farmers, number 2 for Bergen.
Comer's in the ball game again in the fullback position. Tyree Ephraim again going to try the right side, but this time, boy, I'll tell you what, he was met by a bunch of the Farmers, Brazel and Corns and Shields, all in there to make the stop.
Here's the matchup of the ball game today. Let's talk about Permian offense versus Lewisville defense. Permian offense averages rushing 304 yards a game. Lewisville defense averages giving up only 106 a game. Something got to give.
Yeah, somewhere.
They also, Permian offense averages 406 per game total. Lewisville only giving up 240 total. Right now, Permian offense, I think, has the scales weighing in their favor.
2nd and 8 for the Panthers. Strambler in motion. Again, Tyree Ephraim. This time he gets near the 35-yard line, maybe just short of the 35.
Well, again, I think it's going to come down to Dennis Graham being called upon to have a good ball game. Last week had a very frustrating game, only had passes completed for a total of 10 yards by Graham, 7 by Nick Keaton. He's going to have to turn it up a notch, and this is a good opportunity. Panthers facing a win. They've got a wind of about 20 miles an hour in their face. 3rd and 6 from the 35-yard line. Actually, I guess it's going to be 3rd and about 5 from the 35-yard line.
Right.
And, of course, look for Parrott, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bergen is the man that comes up with the ball and makes the play in this particular instance.
Rolls to the right side and downfield and caught at they're going to mark that out just, here comes the replay. That's a beautiful one at the 49-yard line, and that was Kendrick Parrott.
A 16-yard gain. Now watch, here goes Graham. He's going to roll out to his left, set his feet, look for a receiver. Kendrick Parrott, all he did was go down the field about 10 yards, make a quick cut to his left, but it looks like it's going to be all for naught. They're going to be calling, it looks like, illegal man downfield. Is that right?
Well, I haven't seen the motion yet. Here
All right,
it comes.
let's look and see right quick. Illegal man downfield. They say an offensive lineman moved beyond the territory there that you're allowed, that 3-foot break inside. The Panthers going to have to do it all over again.
Well, that brings up a 3rd and 10 now for the Panthers, and that can definitely happen with as much time as it took for that one to develop, because Graham had plenty of time to try and look for that receiver, and there he was, so we'll see if that can happen again. Again, Bass, Bergen, Parrott all split, and Strambler in motion.
Watch for the screen.
There it is, and that's to Parrott. Parrott to the right side. He's still on his feet, and he picked up the 1st down. In fact, he's got more than that as he gets up to around the 43-yard line.
The screen pass is not a play that's used often in the Permian arsenal. When it is, it's usually going to be a throwback screen to your split receiver. Watch, the quarterback drops back, the defense allowed to suck in. Here comes Parrott, makes the catch, and then watch his moves to get across the 40. He knew he had to get to the 40 for the first down. 14-yard pickup to the 44-yard line.
Well, P.J. Shields was there right when he caught the ball, but could not hang on to it. I mean, to him, that's for sure. Scrambler, the ball carrier this time. Gets up near the 47, let's call it the 47-yard line. Pick up about 4 on that play.
All right, Alan Scrambler again with a good carry on first down near the 48-yard line. Looking at 5 minutes, 49 seconds and counting. Now the Panthers, remember that touchdown drive a moment ago, they had a 3rd and 19 they were able to overcome and move on into the score. This time they have a 3rd and 15 and have to repeat 3rd down and come up with it. Let's see if the same result happens. That is a Permian touchdown because of the good play on 3rd down.
Ephraim again crosses the 50, gets to about the 48-yard line before he's brought down, and there again is P.J. Shields. That nose guard goes everywhere. I mean, that man has a lot of movement for him. Brings up 3rd and about 2. Let's make it a short 2, but there's going to be about 2 yards for a first down. And Panthers are in Farmer territory. Still a big 3rd down play, Barry.
Well, 3rd down play, and again, you know, you've got Michael Comer in the game, but I'll be looking for number 33, Ephraim, to get that tough 2 yards.
They gave it to him, but I don't know that he can go anywhere with that one. P.J. Shields, again, the man in the middle, met him head on, and I think he's going to come up just a little bit short. Maybe he picked up a yard on the play. That's, well, a little bit short of a yard. Let's call it 4th and a long 1 for that first down, and the punting team looks like it's going to be coming in. Yep, Shane Wells is in the game. Crawford and McHenry back deep for this punt. And it is a spiral, and it's going to be taken at the 8-yard line, and that's McHenry, and he goes nowhere. He's hit at the 10-yard line. And he was hit by Mark Ruckman that time. Mark was down real quick on that and was kind of waiting for McHenry to catch the ball, you know?
Now, that was a punt they carried all the way down, as you said, to the 8-yard line. They carried it all the way out to the 14-yard line, so really he had a good run back on something that looked like he had no chance on. And now we have about 3:54 to play in the first half. If the defense can do the job here, the Panther offense should have one more opportunity.
7-0, the Panthers lead in this second period of play. McHenry, the ball carrier, and he's quick, fast, and he broke open that hole, went across the 25-yard line, where he's finally stopped by Jared Bergen, and he made the stop at the 30-yard line. That's where they're going to mark that one, and that's going to be a first down.
Now, the last thing you want to see is your defensive backs making a lot of tackles today. That hadn't happened. That was a big run by Medrick McHenry. He's had a long run of 65 this year. That was a gain of 20 all the way out to the 34-yard line.
Oh, a little bit of a bobble of the ball that time, but Comer got a hold of him, and Sheldon Bass was in on it. Looked like Scott Holder also. So we had quite a few of the Panthers in to make that stop. He almost lost that ball.
Now, the Panthers haven't really given up the big play a lot this year. In fact, I don't believe they've given up a big play for a run at all this year. In fact, they don't have any run for touchdown by the opposition in excess of 20 yards. That's how good the run defense has been.
Uh-oh, fumble down on the ground, and Nelson has to just pick it up and try and eat it. Of course, Comer was right in on top of him real quick. He may have picked up a yard, but... oh, we got McHenry getting up real slow, too, but he's back in there.
He gobbled that up like a Thanksgiving turkey dinner, I tell you.
That's what it was. So we've got third down. It looks like about 6 for a first, so this is another big third down play.
I said a 20-yard run by McHenry earlier was a 16-yard carry. And, you know, if you're an offensive lineman for Lewisville, you busted for 16 a moment ago, they have the confidence. They don't have to pass. They can simply try to run it, pick up the 6 for the first. Have to reach across the 40.
Nelson keeps the ball, and it's a toss-out this time, and that goes to Byron Mitchell. But he is stopped way short and gets maybe back to the line of scrimmage by Scott Cherry. And they're going to mark it at the 34-yard line. Kevin Calcutt was also in on that stop. Good pursuit on that, Barry.
Well, that is made by two plays. One is that you don't overcommit to the middle, that you have somebody watching the quarterback, and you have somebody watching the pitch man. The quarterback elected to pitch the ball out, and in so doing, the defense adjusted and made the tackle. If they were not on one or the other, that would be the man that carried the ball, but the Panther defense right there where they need to be. Importantly, 1:55 to play and counting in the first half. Panthers will have one more opportunity offensively.
This game's really moving along with a ground game on both sides. The clock is really moving. Good spiral. That's going to be taken again at the 15 by Kendrick Parrott. Going to his left. He's looking for room.
Just an excellent return from the 14-yard line all the way out to the 26-yard line. Looked like a late hit that will not be flagged. In fact, you look at the two teams coming into the ball game. The Panthers average about 4 penalties at 41 yards per game, and Lewisville averages 8 at 63 negative yards a game. Only been a couple of penalties today, both against Permian. Lewisville hasn't seen a yellow hanky against them yet.
Graham to Tyree. Tyree fumbles the ball, picks it up on the first bounce. It goes out of bounds for a first down at about the 37-yard line. That's 3 times now we know that we have seen the bounce come back to Permian in these playoffs. You know that?
Well, I tell you, that's either living right or knowing that you have the skills to play both the round ball and the pigskin ball, because Ephraim comes up with a crazy bounce. Not only does he recover it, Rick, but he recovers it and gets enough for the first down. They move the sticks. Panther offense can keep moving. Minute 27 to play, and at some point, the offense is going to have to open it up, throw that ball, and try to get some points before halftime. Remember, they're moving into a stiff breeze of about 15 to 20.
That's making some difference in what they're trying to choose, too. If it's a long ball downfield or something like that, the wind sure could hold that ball up. First and 10. Again, Tyree Ephraim, the ball carrier, trying that left side again. Gets down, or up to, I should say, about the 39-yard line. P.J. Shields and Pete Bauenberger was there to make the stop.
Bauenberger, there's a football name for you. Bauenberger.
Try that one.
Gain of 2. They move the ball up to the 39. The clock, though, continues to run because the ball was kept on the ground. We now have a minute, inside a minute. We just turned to 59 seconds to play in the first half. You're going to be looking at a passing down here, Rick. And again, I'm going to keep harping on this till it happens. Look for Bergen somewhere in the pass pattern this drive. There it goes. You know what the play is?
Close, there it goes.
Bubba-Ruski. Bubba-Ruski.
Behind the back, it worked again. You explained that before.
Okay, it's the Bubba-Ruski
Tell us
play.
what happened now. There's Bergen going in. Explain that play.
Okay, now watch the replay. Watch the replay very carefully. They ran the same play. Watch as he sets it into the running back's gut. Watch him go unmolested. There he goes. It's his speed against McHenry. And Jared Bergen, for the second time this year, goes the distance of 61 yards. After the extra point, we're going to ask Bob Bailey to one more time show us that. If we can show it in slow motion, we can explain how the play works. Okay, we can't slow-mo it, but maybe we can look at it again. I tell you, an absolutely perfect call. That's exciting.
Here comes Wells for that extra point, and there it is. It's good, and that's going to bring the score 14-0 with 39 seconds left in this second period of play. As Barry was saying, that was the Bummer-Ruski, and that is a very different handoff, or mishandoff, you might say. Okay, we'll be back to Rattlers Stadium with 39 seconds left. The Panthers lead 14-0. We'll be back in a moment. As I said, we just scored on a quite different play, Barry. And Bergen, being the man that went all the way, what was it, 1 yard?
61 yards.
61 yards.
That's called the Bubba-Ruski, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. Now watch. As he drops back, Bergen's here set. He's going to put the ball in his gut. He sits for 2 seconds, and now it's Bergen alone. All he has to do is beat the defensive man, Patrick McHenry. Number 9, you can see the speed difference. And Bergen takes it the distance of 61 yards for the touchdown.
Well, there's the kickoff, and it's taken up the 20-yard line by a short man, and he is hit, and I mean hit big by number 27, Pinkstaff, and I mean he was He was really hit.
See, I want to thank our camera crew for following that play to its conclusion. That's the play that can fake everybody out. In fact, we said the second time it's been run, the other time was the 71 yards against Odessa High. That was right before the half, and the Panthers needed a score badly. Same situation.
Same thing.
They score with 39 seconds to play before the first half. They got the ball, remember, with 1:33 to play. They pull a play out of the hat. Results in a touchdown lead, 14-0.
Well, that's definitely what they need to go into this halftime. Hand off this time in and out and taken back, and Nelson keeps the ball over the right side. Looks like they're going to be, no, they are calling. There is a timeout with a man down on the field, but I think that they being the Farmers, would be happy just to take this in to halftime, only being behind 14-0.
Now, the coaching staff has to be, just kind of in shock, because that's not the kind of play that you see, in every film that you watch. I mean, it's going to show up in the Odessa High film, and that's the only place you're going to see it. If you didn't have the scouts for that game, or you didn't have that film to look at, you would not know that Permian uses that in its arsenal. I saw him use it this week in practice, and it was so cold that Bergen take the handoff. He'd only wait about a half a second to take off. So it's too cold to sit there for 2 seconds. But I tell you, it goes for 61 yards.
It's amazing to me, Bergen's speed. I think it's very deceptive because, he's quick, but to outrun Metric McHenry, who is a pretty good speedster himself, and he just breezed by those.
That's right. Well, in fact, they've run it twice this year. This was the third time. The second time was against Midland Lee. They tried the same play, was caught for a 2-yard loss. I asked Gerard after the game, or later on in the next week, I said, well, it didn't work last week. And he looked at me and he said, I think it worked, but I think the defensive man didn't know I had the ball. He was pushing him out of the way to get to who he thought had the ball. Gerard had his head down, didn't see him, and the guy, of course, took him to the turf, and he's down where his knee hits. So that time it didn't work, but I tell you, this time, let's recap what happened on the drive. 3 plays, 54 seconds, 74 yards in total. They took over the 26-yard line, and you might remember me saying I looked to see Bergen involved in the play.
That's
at some point in that drive. I didn't expect the Bubba Ruski, that was named after Bum Phillips, by the way, also called the Belly Ruski, and Coach Hollings had learned that from Bum Phillips while he was coaching at SMU back in the early 70s. They used it in a punt formation kind of a play, but Coach Hollings has used it and kind of modified it, and uses it in the situation we just saw him.
Well, it's amazing that we have talked about that before, and
talked about it last week.
That's right, and about watching for it, and of course when they needed it the most, there it was. 16 seconds left, and the clock moves in this one, and this one goes to Dwayne Brazel, and they go nowhere. Now, leading this ball game, 14-0. We will be starting the second half here momentarily. Great first half. Give me some numbers there, Barry, in that first half.
Well, let's talk about how good it was defensively. First of all, for the Permian defense. I tell you, I don't think you could defense this Lewisville Wishbone offense any better than Coach Hollings said, and Coach Ballou and Coach Cade King and the rest of the coaching staff did in the first half. They held Lewisville to 50 total yards, and all of that was on the ground. And here's the way the numbers totaled up. Brazil coming in with over 1,300 yards, 3 carries for 5 yards in the first half. McHenry, 5 for 24. Of course, he had that big 15-yard run, 19-yard run. And Nelson, 7 for only 19 yards rushing. For the Panthers, Ephraim, 11:46. Traveler, 8 for 56. Panthers rang up 191 offensive yards and 164 yards rushing against a defense that only gives up 106 yards rushing. So, a good, steady first half for the Panthers. They scored twice, of course, called a play out of the book, out of the playbook and the trick book to come up with a score on that Umaruski play. Panthers started from their 47, their 34, their 18, their 30, their 26. Basically, had pretty good field position the whole half. They punted 3 times and scored twice on TDs. The opposition, Lewisville, started from their 20 3 times, the 42, the 14, the 33. They had 1, 2, 3, 4 punts, 1 interception. The last drive ended as the half ended. So the defense is setting the tone we talked about. The offense is able to get what they need to go ahead 14-0. And as you know, Rick, the wishbone's awful tough to come from behind with.
Well, it definitely is. It also, though, has a lot of possibilities offense-wise in that, you don't have just one man to watch. You've got 4 or 5 men to watch in that wishbone. So this game by no means is on the ice with a 14-point lead because we saw the potential, even though he only had one run of 19 yards, Metric McHenry has the speed and the ability to break it open anytime. And it has been really a war of in the trenches when you get down to it. Although Permian has really shown its offensive power and that line power by driving in for those touchdowns, the first one especially. But they still need the big play.
Well, of course, they're going against a 5-2 defense. We'll see if Matt Lockie is able to come back and start the second half. Eddie Chance finished up for him there in the first half. But you're outweighed, quite a bit. Of course, Permian's always in that situation. They have an offensive line, Lewisville does, that averages about 231 per man. We said before the ball game started that we figured this would be a 4-quarter game.
Yeah.
And the score, 14-0 halftime, hasn't changed that thinking one bit. The Panthers, I feel that they need to get at least one more, if not 2 more scores on the board. They need to, one, control the ball again in the second half like they did the first half. They don't want to turn the ball over, especially on their end of the field, and give the opposition anything cheap, because that wishbone will take a while to work down the field unless you get a turnover or a big play. Those are the 2 things you have to avoid.
Well, if they care at all what I think we need 2 or 3 more touchdowns. I would feel better about that situation. But here we go to start the second half, and there's a kickoff by Wells, and it will again go in and out of the end zone, bring back to their own 20-yard line where they've started many times.
And here's the defense the Panthers will have to start the second half. We'll be looking at the same group that did such a great job in the first half. Middle linebacker Michael Comer, you see there in the middle of the picture. His defensive mates are at linebacker. We have on this left side Scott Cherry, Hubert Collins on the right. Defensive tackle, Scott Holder, 54, number 63, Sam Brooks. Robert Neidert, defensive end, Kelvin Calicut, defensive end. Into the secondary, Dusty Dennis, Jason Berlin, Jared Bergen, Matt Comia.
Well, here comes the Farmers again on their first offensive set of this second half, and they're going to go to big Dwayne Brazel, a 200-pound junior, and he crosses and gets across the 25-yard line, barely about the 26.
And you saw the big Yost kid coming up off the pile. Here's the offense for Lewisville. Chad Nelson, the quarterback. He is dangerous. Dwayne Brazel, 32, we just saw him carry the ball. Metric Henry, number 9, he's tough. Byron Mitchell had a good run first half, number 22. Tim Singleton, the wide receiver. Martin Simmons, the tight end, and Simmons will be a factor, Rick, I believe, in the second half.
I think they're going to have to do something in the air, it looks like. They're going to try. There goes Nelson again. He's going to keep the ball. Gets across the 30-yard line, picks up that first down. He's going to get up to about the 32-yard line, and that was another slick play. Watch this replay.
Watch the replay. You see him fake it into the line to Brazel to see if the defense bites. You see Comia, 16, come up and get a good stick right there in the breadbasket, along with Hubert Collins, number 32, and, of course, Big Sam, number 63.
Sam made a big move over from his defensive line position, I should say, to go over there and help stop Chad Nelson before he gained any more than he did. Here we go, and oh my gosh! Hello, Boom Man! Sam Brooks, the Boom Man.
All right, let's watch Big Sam come through. Rick Sam had a very tough week this week. His grandfather, he was very close to, passed away last weekend. He's had that on his mind all week, and Sam's a quiet kid that really doesn't say a whole lot. You knew he was hurting. And, of course, our best wishes to him and his family and his grandmom, and hope everybody's doing well, and hope that things work out for the best for him. Another great play by Sam Brooks.
The Boom Man comes in again, a loss of about 2 yards, back to the 29-yard line, second and about 12 for the Farmers. Again, Nelson keeps the ball. He's going to try that same play, which went nowhere this time. We've got Comer in there. We've got Brooks in there. We've got Calicut in there on that one. And coming up, Comia also, and Bergen. I mean, most of the team was in on that one. It's like, hey, tell me your play again. I want to do it one more time.
Now, the Panther philosophy has always been the swarm-type defense. You're able, if you're a defensive man, your key is that you want to get a big stick. You also want to hold on, and you want your defensive guys to swarm to you and help bring that ball carrier down. That's been the philosophy for years, and, probably always will be.
3rd and 10. Nelson keeping the ball. He's talking about changing his position. Nowhere to go. We've got Dusty Dennis, the head man up there. Over.
Dusty is one tough quarterback. Watch how Chad Nelson tries to do a little juke on him. He tries to see if the cornerback's going to bite back the other way, but Dusty has none of it. It stuck with him, and you see all the black shirts suddenly surround the quarterback and surround the defender. I mean, all of a sudden, just boom.
Well, the first man to get his hands on him, of course, was Robert Neidert. He had a hold of him, and Dennis just made the kill. I want to tell you, now I say kill loosely. Here comes the punt on the 4th down. They're going to let this one roll.
And wisely move away in a hurry. Sheldon Bass, 18, and Kendrick Perry.
Down to about the 32-yard line. They'll mark that one, and Panthers will take over. Pretty good field position, still pretty deep in their own end of the field, but they have moved and controlled the ball, and that's what the name of this game has been, Barry, and it has been and can be the answer for Permian is running that timeout. 9:05 left already in the 3rd period of play. 14-0 the Panthers lead.
Panthers offense have what win we have remaining looks about a 15-20 behind them. The entire 3rd quarter, the passing game is going to open up, probably be here in this quarter.
Strambler motion to the right. Tyree Ephraim still fights for yardage. Gets up close to the 40-yard line. Pickup of almost 7 yards on that play.
Tell you, at the sake of sounding redundant, I love to watch Tyree Ephraim run. Coming into the game averaging 9 yards a carry, 63 carries for 568. Tyree had a great first half. In fact, with that carry here in the second half, that puts him up to 53 yards on 12 carries. Great combination this afternoon of Strambler and Ephraim. And Lonnie Jones, I expect to see in the second half, and they're going to use that speed to kind of offset what the defense is doing to them.
Well, Comer's in now at that up fullback position. Tyree behind him, Strambler to the right. Tyree, the ball carrier, is tossed out. He crosses and gets up to about, and that will be enough for the first down as he crosses the 43-yard line.
Where the official has it marked, he has it marked just inside the 44. Had to reach the 43. Panthers in 2 plays have the 10 yards to move the sticks, and any coach is going to tell you in coach speak, he's going to say our goal today is to move the sticks. Move the sticks. What he says is he wants that offense to control the ball and move those sticks down the field. And of course, you want to run down there where there's no more sticks, and you got an official authority.
Different kind of sticks.
Yeah, really. Yeah. That's what you want.
14-0 Panthers lead. We've got a flag right now. I don't know if it was motion or too much time.
Looks like it's going to be offensive motion. You see the referee signal there. Also in the first half, Lewisville had no penalties. Panthers had 2 for 17. Had a holding penalty, had another penalty, 2 for 17. Now you add 5 more to it. And Lewisville usually has been the most penalized team in any particular game they play, but today they played error-free football.
Well, this is excitement, I believe, had a lot to do with that one this time, as far as motion goes. I mean, they were ready to roll, the Panthers were.
Tell you, a great afternoon for football. We thought it might be a little bit chilly, but should be right around the mid-60s by the time the game is completed. Just a perfect day for playoff football in West Texas.
Graham keeps the ball, looking for someone downfield. No one there, and still on his feet. Tries to pick up some yards. He does get back to near the original line of scrimmage, maybe the 45-yard line, before Brazell and Baker come up to make the stop on him.
Now, that was a first down play, and he carried from the 39 for a 5-yard carry up to the 44-yard line. When you get 5 on first down, I mean, you're doing good. But now you've got 2nd and 10, so in effect, after the penalty, you have gained no yardage on first down and have the 2nd and full 10 to go in 2 plays.
The coverage shut him down on that one as he was looking downfield. He had somebody in mind or anybody in mind, and nobody was there. They were all covered, so he just kept the ball and picked up the 5 yards.
We set the Permian offense after this play for you. We haven't done that in the second half.
Tyree Ephraim around the right side, but he is hit hard by Shannon Brazell. And we talked about this being a freshman, 185-pound freshman, the brother of the fullback.
I'll tell you, now the coach made a good point this week. He said, sure, I've got a freshman playing at linebacker, but you're playing 13 games into the season. He, in effect, is playing in the 3rd game of his sophomore year. You know, that's a little different. And the juniors are now playing into the 3rd game of their senior season. So you have some seasoning under the belts of these youngsters. As you can see, he wasn't scared to go up there and pump the senior running back. You got a 9th grade kid, probably 14 years old, and he's playing a big 5A ball game in the state of Texas. Got to be excited.
3rd and 6 for the Panthers. Bass in motion to the near side. He's the man, and hit, and the ball drops to the ground. Incomplete is what they're going to call it. Blaine Herring was the man there covering him.
Well, Dennis Frame was so focused on trying to get the ball to one of the wideouts. In this case, you see number 18, Bass, going in motion, that he didn't see that Gerard Bergen had completely cleared out the defense and was sailing all by himself down inside the enemy 40-yard line. Would have had an easy score for 7, but Pass was chosen to be thrown to the short man and fell incomplete.
Patrick McHenry will be back on about his own 15-yard line, awaiting this punt, this fourth down punt of Shane Wells, as he will be kicking from his own 40-yard line. And there it is. It's a high punt, and it's going to be off to the right side, and they're going to have to mark that one as the referee comes back up the line.
Well, actually, Rick is going to come back. Roughing the kicker will be the call, but it's only going to be a 5-yard mark-off. The 5-yard mark-off, if that is the call, which is running into the kicker, not roughing the kicker, the 5-yard call will mean that Permian will have a 4th down and 1 play from the 47-yard line of Lewisville.
Or they can take the punt
if they want to.
And that will put the ball at the Farmers' 18.5-yard line.
Well, let's see if we can find Coach. He's out on the field, almost in the huddle. He does that a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets out near where he can talk to
Okay, he said let's decline it. We'll take the kick. We liked what the result was, and we'll take the kick and move Lewisville down the field.
Yeah, I think they're deep in their own territory with the wind in their face. That's probably a pretty good choice there.
All right,
Pretty good choice.
They're going to decline it because, as you said, Lewisville will have the wind in their face. Where did he throw the beanbag to? The 19-yard line. So Lewisville now will start inside their 20. And Coach Holling said the rest of the coaching staff electing to stay with the strength of the team so far today, and that is defense, and see if the defense can do it, stop them, force them to punt against the wind, maybe come back with good field position.
Tim Singleton is coming out to this far near side of the field. This one goes to McHenry. Metric McHenry, I'll get that one right. And his feet go out from under him with the help of Comer and Neidert as they're back there to make the stop. If he could have kept him under it, he was going nowhere.
Well, they two-timed him on that one, and I'll tell you, anytime you take a running back's legs out from under him, you're going to find a running back that can't run anywhere.
Looks like he saw those two guys, and he tried to make a fast cut, and his feet, of course, went out from under him, but they were there to help him anyway.
You know, most cases people say Permian has the advantage because they're playing on turf. Louisville has a turf stadium also, so this is really an equal ball game for the two of them because they're used to the turf each.
Nelson is back. He's looking downfield. He is being pressured, and the ball is up to no one.
Now, let's see if he gets a flag for intentional grounding. Nothing.
The crowd wants it, don't they?
And I'll tell you, they want it, but they're not going to get it.
Speaking of the crowd, it is a big crowd here this evening as the Permian side is full, and the cross on the Lewisville side, all of their section is full, so there's a big crowd, came a long way. 5:12 left in this third period of play. 14 for the Panthers, 0 for the guests.
They had about 9 buses roll in about half an hour to 45 minutes before game time, and I think our spotter, Darren over there, said he thought it was the band arriving, but the band was already here. And we started looking, that was the charter buses arriving, so they have a great crowd with them today from Lewisville, come to watch the Fighting Farmers play ball.
3rd and 9. Nelson trying a screen pass out to McHenry. McHenry still on his feet, and he's going to be close to that first down marker when he goes out. They're going to mark him up around the 35.
They're going to mark him and say that he never went out of bounds. Let's watch the replay again and see if he does. Just a great play by the quarterback. They draw the defense in. Metric McHenry makes the play. No, he stayed in bounds.
Sure did.
Like a great play by McHenry. And the gain from the 19-yard line all the way up to the 34 is going to be a 15-yard pass play. You know, there's a passing play by an offense that never throws the ball.
Brooks was the man over there to finally knock him off his feet, but this time they're going to try it up the middle again, and boom, he is hit by Sam the boom man, but he still gets up to about the 40-yard line where he picked up 5 yards.
Okay, watch this, boom! You talk about some pad on pad, mano a mano. Was that Brazel carrying the ball or McHenry?
That was McHenry, I believe.
Okay, you had McHenry, number 9, 185-pound senior, against a 210-pound senior, and there was some big hitting going on there.
4:20 and the clock moves.
6-yard gain on the carry.
This time nowhere to go. This time Brazel carries the ball, and Michael Comer is there to wrap him up. And Michael does kind of one of those, when you get in his arms, you don't go anywhere type tackles.
No, any good running back, or any good linebacker is going to be a sure tackler. And Michael Comer, I think, is probably the surest tackler on the team. It's 3rd and a long 2, close to 3 for Lewisville. And believe it or not, Rick, this is 2-down territory. They don't mind going on their own end of the field if they have to.
There's McHenry again, and he's going to be awful close. He gets up near the 45-yard line, and that should be there because the flag is just short of the 45, and that's what he was trying to get to, so he should be there.
But
he's a little slow getting up on that one, too.
the running game of Louisville had only 50 yards of offense in the first half. On this drive, they started back at the 19, so this drive has already gained them 26 yards. So half of what they had in the first half, they've gained back again here early in the third quarter. There's a timeout on the field. Let's take this break with the Permian Panthers leading by the score of 14-0 over Louisville. 3:38 to play in the third quarter.
3:38 left in this third period of play. The Panthers leading 14-0. McHenry goes off on his own power to the side of lines, and coming in his place is Terrence Bowman.
And Louisville kind of tipping the scales a little bit in their favor now as they started back in the 19 with the first down and now moved out to the 45-yard line, and the Senators begin to click a little bit more.
This one goes nowhere, and that's Byron Mitchell, the ball carrier, and he tries the kind of a cross buck, and is met first by Hubert Collins, and then the gang tackle comes up as they swarm him and throw him for it looks like about a yard's loss.
Also 63, of course, Sam Brooks in there. Brooks is going up against Buddy Phillips. Buddy's a 225-pound junior, and no doubt all this week in film session, you know, the coaches have probably been telling them, Buddy, you're going to be facing the finest defensive tackle you've played all year. And Buddy really has had his work cut out for him because Sam is beginning to get through there more and more on every play.
Fumble! Permian gets it.
Comer comes up with it, number 45.
Comer, the big man to come in and cover that fumble where Permian will take over on their own on the 44-yard line.
All right, let's watch the stick that results in the ball popping loose. And Michael Comer being Johnny on the spot. Who made the hit? Number 63, Sam Brooks. And Brooks just completely wrapped up. Was it Chad Nelson, the quarterback, that was tattooed? Nelson let the ball drop to the turf. And now Permian in great field position at Louisville's 44-yard line.
Permian's first run is Tyree Ephraim, and he is hit immediately as he gets to the line of scrimmage, but fights for some extra yardage, and they're going to give him his forward motion for a pickup of about 2 yards on the play. Greg Baker, and again, Zeb Cornist, who is a sophomore 190-pounder, made the stop.
Coming into the game, Permian 15 plus 15 in the turnover ratio department. They've already got 2 more to add to that. And Louisville was only plus 2. They can knock them down to 0 after the 2 turnovers today, but now it's up to the defense to do their job, or Permian's offense to turn the tables, drive in for the 7th.
Here comes Tyree again with his speed, and he goes the right side this time, and he's going to be right close at that marker, that down marker for that first down. As he crosses the 35, gets near the 34, depends on the mark. Blaine Herring had to come up from his defensive back position, and that's the people we want in there making those tackles, is having to be the defensive back.
If you can get through the box of 7, in this case you've got a 5-down lineman set, along with the 2 linebackers, Welton, who's a junior, Brazel, who's a freshman. If you can make it through that box of 7 and get into the defensive backfield, more often than not, Rick, you're going to be picking up big chunks of yardage and will at some point get into the enemy end zone. 31.
Short about a half yard, you're right. Into the game is Comer and Cherry. Comer blocking back, of course, Cherry in the tight end position. They're going to boost that line, and this time it's Strambler. And Strambler crosses the 34, the 34, and gets down to close to the 32-yard line. Be enough for the first down, and they're going to move those sticks. Mike Fraser up again from his cornerback position to make that stop.
Okay, that was Strambler on the carry, first carry of the second half, and for him after the 2-yard, they're going to give him a 1-yard gain. 9 for 57. Ephraim, 16 for 71 coming into the, at this point in the third quarter.
45 seconds left in the third period of play. Permian leads 14-0 and are driving now into the Lewisville Fighting Farmers territory. This one goes to Tyree Ephraim. Again, the right side. He is hit, but bounces off and crosses the 30, gets to about the 28-yard line before he stopped. That boy is a tough runner. Watch him on this one.
You might see just a little bit of tempers flaring Warmoth blocking up against the sophomore, rather the junior, Garrett. Number 29, you didn't see him, but after the play, after Warmoth was not able to make the tackle, just pushed Garrett and tried to push him over the other player on the ground, but didn't work. In fact, it's going to be a gain of only about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Some tough running by Tyree Ephraim.
I think the quarter is going to end before this play gets off, and it does. That's the end of the third period of play as the Panthers lead 14-0 over Lewisville. We are at Ratliff Stadium for this playoff game. We'll be back in return in just. We'll begin driving, Barry.
What we talked about as the third quarter started was the fact that you had to watch the ball, make sure that you use the wind to your advantage. Panthers didn't score in the third quarter, but what they did do was come up with a turnover deep in the Lewisville territory at the 44-yard line. They've now moved inside the 30 to the 29 as the fourth quarter begins. If you can put 7 up here, Rick, it's going to be very tough for the Wishbone offense to come back, even if you have the wind behind you, because you don't effectively throw the ball.
That's very true. It's going to be most difficult. I think that the Panthers know that putting one more at least score on that board is very necessary right now, or at least the least that they can do on this drive is eat up a lot of time and try and make that clock move as far as it can. And here they come. Tyree Ephraim again on the run. I'm sorry, that's Alan Strambler. Picked up the wrong one. He's going to be down at about the 5-yard line.
And I'll tell you who blew the block. Not blew the block, but who made the blowing block that busted him through. Number 45, Michael Comer, took out 2 men here on the side, left it to Strambler to blow through that hole. I tell you, a guy as big as fat as you and I are could have probably blown through there for about 15.
I could have walked through that one. You're right. I'd have had to.
Michael Comer with a perfect run, a perfect block rather, bust Strambler loose for a gain of 23 down to the Lewisville 6-yard line.
First and goal for the Panthers of this important drive in this fourth period of play. Tyree Ephraim around the right side, cuts back in. He's in for the touchdown. The speed blocking is all out there. It is everywhere. But as you can see, that was his 11th touchdown of the season. Here he comes again. Comer out front of him, Barry.
Once again, Comer leading the way. Panthers in this half, the defense is turning it up one more notch. They only gave up 50 yards of offense in the first half. Here in the second half, Lewisville has only gained 18 yards of offense in the third quarter. And now with that score by Permian, the 6-yard run by Ephraim, Panthers have 65 yards of offense. Not a lot, but effective because it put 7 on the board.
Well, Lewisville came into this with everybody saying that they could not be stopped. There's Wells' extra point, and it's good, making the score 21 for the Panthers, 0 for Lewisville with 11:29 left in this final period of play. All the pre-press that was about the Lewisville team was that they have one of the most, if not the most awesome, running ground games that there is, and that especially on their first series of downs. They had only been stopped one time without being able to move the ball down and at least get some points. They were definitely stopped this time.
I'll tell you, talk about how awesome this offense has been for Lewisville. 2 weeks ago in the first game of the year, first game of the playoffs rather, against, who did they play? They played Burleson. They had 528 yards rushing. I mean, I don't care if you're playing a Pee Wee team, 528 yards is a whole lot of yards to be rushing. Last week, held under 500. They only had 474. Today, though, the offense has generated a grand total. They only had 50 yards in the first half. They have 18 yards here in the second. And of that 18, 16 of it is through the air. Only 2 yards rushing in the second half for 52 yards total. That's an awesome defensive job by Permian.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And what it has done is taken the starch out of their sails.
Yeah, whatever sails they had just went. I tell you, what's the saying, Rick? You win championships with defense.
You're right, and here it comes as far as the Farmers taking the ball, and they go around that right end and almost get up the sidelines, get up to about the 35-yard line where they're going to be marked out.
Dusty Dennis forced him out of bounds, number 44. All right, we've got a recap on our 68 yards of offense is what Lewisville has on the ground. They have another 16 yards passing, and that was on 1 completion. But I tell you, 68 yards rushing against an offense that the last couple of weeks has run up over 1,100 yards. Tell me what kind of defensive play the Panthers have done today.
Well, they haven't met anything like the Panthers, I guess. And there goes Metric McHenry as he crosses the 40-yard line, get up to about the 42-yard line.
Let me recap that play for the Panthers right quick. Who made the tackle? Cherry?
Scott Cherry was in.
Scott Cherry, I tell you, a tough defensive lineman along with Comer and Hubert Collins. That last play by the Panthers, Michael Comer came up with the fumble recovery. Panthers took it 44 yards in 6 plays, 3 minutes and 6 seconds, capped by Tyree Ephraim's 11th touchdown run of the season. There's Kendrick Parent, too.
He watches from his
Great
sideline.
receiver.
Again, McHenry, and he meets a staunch left side of that defensive line, which would be Robert Neidert and Scott Holder. And, I mean, he went nowhere on that one. He may have picked up a yard. They may give him his forward progress. They're going to mark it at about the 45, just short of the 45. Bring up third and a long 2.
Sam feeling a little spry. You saw him kind of swat at the ball and came up with air, wasn't able to make the ball come loose. But now the Panthers got to dig tough, 3rd and 2. And really, with the score being like it is, Lewisville has 2 downs to work with here.
McKendry caught in the backfield by Boomer, the Boomman. And that's Sam Brooks along with Bass. And coming up, let's see, I was trying to catch some of the other. I think Tito Brito was in there too, number 19 up in there for that tackle. And boy, that changed their mind on that going in towards front.
Well, that's going to be a yard loss. Clifford Roach apparently is in the game, but look and see who the blocking back is, and keep your eye on the blocking back. Lewisville down 21-0, and Coach Ronnie Gage, I don't think is beyond trickery. I think if he has an opportunity and he sees the right set, he may try it.
There it is. You called it, Barry. And he's still going. Still on his feet as he crosses the 40. The 30. Gets it across the 30. Down there. It's going to be marked out at about the 30. Let's see where they finally do mark it up. It's hard to see. Oh, there it is. Okay, we're going to mark it at about the 27-yard line.
That's a 38-yard run on a 4th down fake punt. We don't have a replay to show you.
That was Dwayne Brazel.
That was Brazel, who that by far is his best run of the day. In fact, prior to that, he had carried 7 times for 14 yards and suddenly reels off a run of 32 plus 6, a run of 38. Actually, a run of 40 down to the 27-yard line.
9:28 left in the 4th period of play. The score still is 21-0 in favor of the Panthers, but after that fake punt, run back by Dwayne Brazel, they being the Fighting Farmers, are now a threat, to go in because they're operating deep in Panther territory.
But remember, the Panther defense has played so solid, they still are 27 yards out. I mean, that's a long ways to go against a defense that's given up very little this afternoon.
Nelson still the ball carrier, hit before he can throw and dump that ball out, and that was intended for Dwayne Brazel again. Hubert Collins, the man back there to grab him and wrap him back before he could get rid of that.
Also, Scott Holder, number 54, made a great play inside to force the quarterback, Chad Nelson, to throw the ball a little quicker than he wanted. Chad Nelson's prowess is not passing the ball, it's running the ball. Coming into the game this afternoon, 803 yards rushing for Nelson, 7.7 per carry, only averaging, completing about 33%.
Permian had called the timeout on the field and is now set to take a look at this offense and what are they going to do. This one they go right up the middle with Brazel, and Brazel gets to about the 25-yard line, maybe just across the 25-yard line.
You can see Holder, you can see number 78 Neidert come up. That defense is digging tough. They gave up a 36-yard run, I believe. Is that how long that run was? Let me double check. A 29-yard run by Brazel a moment ago. But remember, that wasn't the defense.
That's
that
right.
was the special teams. The defense is digging in tough.
3rd and 8 yards, let's say, for the first. Here comes the toss out. This goes to McHenry, and third is Hubert Collins back there, and Cromer back there to make that big play, and that's a monster play right there. That throws him way back.
I got to get Mike Atkins down to Permian this week. Hubert Collins is one heck of a linebacker. He's also one heck of a rap artist. I tell you, IST and those guys don't have nothing on Hubert. We've got to get Mike Atkins to go down to the locker room and get Hubert to do his rap so we can use it next week. I mean, and after a play like that, Hubert deserves to hear that rap, right?
Well, Collins rapped that boy, I'll tell you. He rapped him up.
He rapped and he bapped him.
4th and Still 8 yards to go. Big fourth down play. McHenry in motion to the right side. Nelson going to go for a dump pass over there, and
I think he heard some.
We heard the
Cherry.
footsteps of Cherry, and he didn't want any part of that ball. McHenry said, no, I don't think so. So the Permian Panthers will take over at their own 25-yard line. Let's make it.
8:03 to play in the fourth quarter. Lewisville just made their best effort of the game. They hadn't been in Permian territory very often this afternoon, matter of fact. In fact, let me double check my sheet and see if that was the only time they've been in Permian territory. Well, that was, Rick. The only other time they were down when they threw a pass interception by that Gerard Bergen picked off.
Keaton now into quarterback for the Panthers. Stradler in motion to the right. Tyree tries to cut back against the grain, but he is hit there again by P.J. Shields. And I believe that was number 61 was Dan Merritt for the Farmers.
Let me check and see where the quarterback, number 20, Dennis Graham, is. I don't believe it's due to an injury situation. In fact, Graham is back
in there
the
now. Yeah, he's back in. He maybe had to fix a shoe or something.
Well, it could be that, or it could be that they're setting up a play. You know, they do have a play in the arsenal where you have Keaton in the backfield. Graham pitches the ball back, and Keaton either hits the wide receiver or throws the ball back to the quarterback. Maybe setting up for that play here in a moment. Wouldn't be surprised.
Well, let's watch and see. This one goes to Stradler. Right side. They're going to just try and keep that ball, I think, on the ground and try and ground it out. Crosses up to about the 32-yard line.
And the Panther passing game only 2 of 5 this afternoon for 27. And that followed their lowest passing game of the year, only 17 yards against El Paso Eastern.
Welton and Bowenberger and Warmoth was the one that teamed up to make the stop. That's not easy for you to say.
See, that's a football player's name there, isn't it?
Bowenberger or Warmoth. 7 minutes left in this game. 21-0. The Panthers lead, and they're in control right now of the ball. 3rd and 3. Toss out to... let me see if I can get his number real quick. That goes to Lonnie Jones. That was Lonnie this time.
Is that Lonnie?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, Lonnie's second catch of the year. He had a catch way back early part of the year. His second catch had 1 for 20 coming in. This one's going to go 4 from the 32 out to the 38-yard line, a gain of 6. Let me tell you what the running game's done this afternoon. Alan Stramler, leading ball carrier, 11 for 85. And for Allen, his best output of the year, he had 66 against Amarillo way back in week 3. Ephraim, 83 on 19 carries. In a great 1-2 combo there.
Adam Hamilton now into the game. A junior at fullback. This time it goes to Stramler again, and that is broken up real big. And that's number 44, Michael Bryant, comes up from his cornerback position to catch that one in the backfield. 2nd down and still 10 to go. O.T. Wilson, you see, is in, along with that big line of Chorney and Benjamin and Garrett and Hanson.
And Homer and Jethro, Hanson and Chorney. There's a pair of linemen for you. Cherry, O.T. you mentioned, Garrett, the only junior. On that offensive line. Panthers always seem to have a great junior as an offensive lineman to kind of lead the way the next year.
Parrott split to the near side. There'll be a flag on that one. We had a little bit of motion that time.
It's going to be a shame to
there it goes again. How many times has that happened in the playoffs now?
It's going to be a motion penalty against Permian. Last week he had a big run. The week before against Amarillo Paladuro, a big run. This run's going to carry from the 38 all the way down to the opposition 47-yard line, following the block of Stramler, or rather of Ephraim. Look at this, just turned. I know Dennis really sincerely wants to get out of negative yardage and rushing. You know, he's going to get tired of me harping on this, but I'm going to tell you, Dennis, at some point you got a 32 for -8 coming in, and his best run of the day is wiped out again.
That's twice. He had it the same in the last game. And
last week had a 21-yarder call back.
That's right. The last week's game was the same thing. That's going to move it back. We're going to now have 2nd and 16 for the Panthers after that penalty. We just had a backfield man just started off just a little quick.
There's the boom man. Sam Brooks.
He's checking it out, isn't he?
Sitting behind him, you see Hubert Collins, 32. You can see the shadows kind of creeping across the field.
There they are.
Late in the day, matter of fact, at the time we're taping the ball game, it's about 5 minutes till 4. And all Permian's weight right now, ticking inside of 5.5 to play.
O.T. Wilson to the left side. Comer into the slot between Kendrick and the line. Uh-oh, what happened there? We got a penalty now.
Too much time. Offense took too much time.
Having a little bit of a struggle right now with 2 penalties in a row against the Panthers. They keep having to move the other direction. It's now going to be 2nd and 21 with 5:24 left. The Panthers still lead 21-0.
Only penalty against Lewisville this afternoon was the running into the kicker when Shane Wells was punting earlier. And that was nullified because the Panthers elected to take the good punt inside the 20-yard line. Panthers now have been penalized this afternoon 5 times, negative 32 yardage. But they're winning the battle, losing the war. Losing the battle, winning the war.
Or one of those anyway.
A or B.
Delay handoff to Strambler this time as he looks for room to right side. Let's see, Zach Welton was the first man up to help make the stop along with Brett Baker for the Farmers. Look, it's up to about the 30-yard line.
Look at Allen's helmet. Look at his side. He's been running so hard today that half the peel on the side's worn off.
It sure has, hasn't it? Well, there's been some tough hitting down there, I'll tell you.
Allen's done a great job this afternoon, as has Tyree Ephraim. Tyree getting his first start of the year tonight. This afternoon starting at fullback. Alan Garrett doing a great job on offensive line. Ray Benjamin, Matt Lockey, Ben Chorney, Scott Hansen, Scott Cherry. Eddie Chance played a little bit there on the offensive line earlier.
Graham back, and he's looking deep downfield, and he's got a man open at the 30. That'd be the 41-yard line is where he'll be marked down, and that was Parrott. Kendrick Parrott. We're going to be able to look at that one again. A 29-yard pass and reception there from Bergen to Parrott.
And watch this, just a perfect pass to the wide receiver, Kendrick Parrott. Didn't have a reception last week against El Paso Eastwood. Was able to get into the passing offense early this afternoon for Permian. In fact, that's his 2nd catch of the afternoon. 4th completion for Permian. And in the passing statistics, they now up to about 62 yards. 61.
Strambler off the right side. Nice run as he crosses the 35, gets down to about the 32-yard line, where it took Blaine Herring from the defensive position to come up and finally make that stop. We'll get another look at it, Barry.
Let's look at this. As you see Allen, look at that helmet. He's been running with that helmet today, hasn't he?
Well, look what he did. He just ducked it on Herring and just kind of gained another yard or so by just ducking it and using it as a battering ram.
Tell you, this has been a great team effort this afternoon, and I think that's the key. Permian plays so well as a team, and when you play together as well as they do as a team, good things happen to you. Lead 21-0, clock ticking inside of 3.5.
2nd and 1. And there it is. And there goes Ephraim, Tyree and Ephraim. I'll get it out as he crosses the 15. I got all excited, my tongue twisted. He gets down to about the 13. It's a 21-yard run by Tyree Ephraim. He was finally stopped by Mike Fraser. There's that look again. You just see what he does is he finds the hole, turns, twists, and everything as we have a timeout on the field called. The Panthers are deep in the Farmers' territory, operating from the 13-yard line. There's 3:11 left in this ball game as the Panthers have mounted once again, a ball control offensive drive that has carried them to the 13-yard line. Now, the big play in this drive, of course, so far has been that pass to Parrott, which moved them to the 41-yard line of the Farmers. And now then we've had 2 nice runs, one by Strambler, and now then Tyree Ephraim moving that ball down as they keep it rolling. The big thing, of course, that everybody's getting excited about and what they're trying to do is to keep control of this ball and this ball game, and that being done by keeping that ball on the ground and driving that clock. Only 3:11 left for Permian's next win in their quest of the state championship. Graham now has his play from Coach Tam Hollingshead. Don't forget, immediately following this game, the Tam Hollingshead coach's show will continue, and you will get a summary of the ball game. That was the 9th play.
This will be the 9th play of the drive that started back on the Permian 24-yard line.
Tyree Ephraim again, and look at him spin, move, twist, do anything to get yardage as he gets down to about the 7-yard line.
Face mask penalty possibly?
Yep, face mask there. Corns was the man, number 99. He had to make the stop. There is a penalty down. Oh, there's another one. That came from the backfield. That's going to be somebody opened their mouth back there.
Whoops.
I'm trying to see who's somebody back there is holding their hands out. It looks like to be Blaine Herring that might have said something he shouldn't have said because can they add stack those?
Sure.
I mean, that's possible.
Well, the play was down to the 6. You mark it half the distance to the 3. You mark it half the distance again down to the 1.5-yard line.
So that's going to put them right in. There it comes again. Now here's the second mark.
Here comes Lonnie Jones, number 34 in the game. This afternoon, Ephraim, 21 for 110 yards. Second time this year he's topped 100. Strambler, his best day of the year, 14 for 96. I mean, that's a 1-2 punch. Here's a defense of Lewisville that's been giving up an average of only 106 yards rushing. Panthers almost 200 yards with just 2 players.
Well, they've met their match and more today as the Panthers move up to the line for short yardage in for another score. This one across the middle, the dive is attempted by Tyree. He lost the ball. It's going to depend on if they're going to count it dead that he was stopped. His forward motion ended, but he got to about the 1-yard line or near the 1-yard line. That whole front line had stacked it up there, Barry.
I'll tell you, when you're running against a side of beef as big as the side of a truck, it's tough sometimes to get that yard. But Permian, more often than not, will get it in the end zone. They have second down and goal now from the 1-yard line.
Comer comes into the game to be used in the fullback position and the blocking up front in that wishbone. Well, this time they're splitting him off to the right side out of that wing T formation. Up the middle, and this time it is powered across. Nothing but power by Tyree Ephraim. He didn't make it the first time. They gave it to him the second chance and said, now you've got the second chance to go in. We're going to take a look at it again.
Just watch that bulldozer dive into the end zone. There's Michael Comer to lead the way. Number 45 takes out the linebacker. Once the linebacker, along with Chorney and Hanson and Eddie Chance at center, pushed him out of the way, all Ephraim had to do was basically fall forward.
They had to push on him that time. That offensive line said, well, we didn't do it the first time down here. We're going to do it the second time, and they just bulldozed them out of the way. 2 minutes left exactly in this ball game as Wells attempts the extra point. It's down, it's up. It's good, and that brings the score 28 for the Panthers, 0 for Lewisville. We are at Ratliff Stadium for this big playoff game. We will return in just a moment.
Fourthly,